You're listening to The Bo's Nose, a podcast about QI Roberts Junior Senior High School in Putnam County, Florida. And I'm your host, Mr. Bose. And today I have a very special guest in studio with me today. I have Miss Spencer, who's here to talk about a recent honor and experience she had. So introduce yourself and tell us what you did.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. My name is Tiffany Spencer. I'm a math teacher here at QI Roberts, and I went on a very special trip to Washington, D.C. to attend the NCTM annual conference. I was nominated by a company called Impact Florida, and then I filled out an application with Everbank Education and was selected to participate as part of one of their inaugural cohorts.
That's amazing. So let's talk about, let's work backwards. So let's talk about what is NCTM and what was their annual conference all about?
So NCTM is the national conference for teachers of mathematics, and the conference was huge. There were over 500 sessions to attend, and it was such a great learning experience.
So you had your time turner and went to all 500, right?
Yeah, I wish I could, honestly. There was so much to choose from. And then, from math journals to factoring trinomials with algebra tiles to how to utilize AI in our classrooms and not use it as a cheating tool, but a teaching tool. And there were sessions from anywhere from elementary all the way up through college. The author of the book study that we did last year as a math team, he was there. I attended his session. That was really neat. There was a lot to learn. I think my biggest takeaway, here at QI Roberts, we do quality, integrity, and mutual accountability. And my biggest takeaway was the mutual accountability piece. And, as educators, it's not a single person job. It's a collaborative effort. It's a team effort. And, our math team collaborates. We collaborate with each other. We collaborate with the other teachers of our grade level. We collaborate with our administrators. We collaborate with other teachers in our district. Sometimes we go outside the district and attend PDs. But for me to be able to sit at a table and collaborate on a subject or a benchmark that we teach, the benchmarks are typically the same. Math is math. But for me to be able to sit at a table and share perspectives with teachers from California, Louisiana, Virginia, all, national perspectives, and sit together and share our brains and talk about our classrooms and what we do, it was just an amazing experience.
That's wonderful. And I think that is something that's important, that's often lacking in the education profession, is it can be very isolating and very lonely in a classroom. Especially, I imagine, for elementary school teachers more than high school teachers. You're stuck. I say stuck, but you have the same 30 kids every day, all day.
Yeah.
But
and it's really neat because sometimes we get stuck in this cycle, where it's just monotonous. We get up, we do the same thing every day, over and over again. And, and then to go and speak to these other people and get different perspectives on how they do the same thing that you're doing every day, but it's a little bit different. There's always room to grow and to gain new ideas. And it was just wonderful. I really feel like everybody should have the opportunity to speak to people outside of our district or outside of our state that are doing the same thing that we're doing. They're just doing it a little bit differently.
Yeah, I think that's important for all the school leaders and district leaders that may listen to this podcast, or for people that have influence over those people, is the teaching the teacher model is great and it works for some things, but sometimes it's best to just get the teachers together in a room and let them do their thing.
Yes, because if we want our students to learn and grow from each other, what's better than that for teachers as well?
Absolutely. Sometimes that professional learning of what's good for the students gets lost when it gets translated into
It was kind of interesting because the cohort that I participated in was half Floridians and half New Yorkers. And so it was really neat to just sit in a room and watch them present on things they do in their classroom, and for me to be able to share and present on things that we're doing here. like I said, it was just a lot to take in, and I wish I had more time. I wish I did have that time turner. I needed to be Hermione, and so I could attend more things. But it was a great experience. The keynotes were amazing. I really enjoyed. The president of NCTM is a middle school math teacher, so I went to a couple of his sessions, and it was really interesting to hear his perspective on all the things that we deal with as math teachers. But
absolutely. So let's talk a little bit about how you ended up getting there. So you mentioned being nominated by Impact Florida. So let's talk about like how you got involved with Impact Florida and why you feel like they nominated you.
So I am so fortunate to be a member of an amazing math team here at QI Roberts, and Miss Knowles.
This is not a paid endorsement.
No, but it is a genuine endorsement. Miss Knowles and Mr. Bose participated with Impact Florida year before last, and they had an amazing experience and then invited me to join them last year. And we do research in our classrooms based on student feedback, and we try to grow different learning conditions. We administer surveys, and we read and look at the data based on the students' input and their voice. And last year, I really focused on feedback for growth and student voice as my learning conditions of focus. And I implemented feedback for growth data chats that I do at the end of each term with each kid. I sit down, it takes about 5 minutes, and it does take a few days, but I get through it. And we highlight glows and grows for the last term, and then set goals for the new term, and talk about what they're going to do, what strategies they're going to use to achieve their goals, and then what can I do to help them achieve their goals. And I think it's really important to give these kids a voice, and it's just between them and myself, so if they can be brutally honest if they need to, and I tell them that. So anyway, Mr. Bose and I actually presented in Orlando last year on our data chats. He does data chats as well in his classroom. So I think the reason I was nominated is because the cohort specifically focused on K-8, and I teach 7th grade accelerated math. But yeah, it's been an amazing experience with Impact, and that experience continues to grow. All 3 of us are participating again this year, and I'm actually getting ready to administer my first surveys. And I kind of had a conversation with the kids yesterday about what they were, what they mean, how they're anonymous. To be honest, I have thick skin. Tell me how you feel. So I'm interested to get that data back and really start working on this year's group of kids and how I can serve them better. How can I make their classroom experience with me the best possible? And I think the best way to do that is to listen to them, hear them.
Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. Impact Florida is, for listeners, is a nonprofit organization here in Florida that has 5 conditions that they focus on as an organization. And one of those is quality professional development. And through that, they created, it's titled the Solving with Students cadre. And it's centered around the student experience in the classroom, as Tiffany was talking about, because there's so much professional development, professional learning out there around like how to teach math and the nuts and bolts of it. But oftentimes that gets lost in a classroom if you don't have the right environment for learning. And the cadre and the surveys, they focus on that. They focus on the learning and what it feels like to the students. And that's often something that's not captured in a teacher's observation of their own classroom or an administrator's observation of their own classroom. So I'm grateful that my team has gone with me on this crazy journey.
Thank you for taking us.
With some brutal feedback. It's something that takes a lot of processing.
Last year, I had a challenging group, and through these surveys, I always go over the data with my kids after each survey cycle. And I had a student tell me, "These surveys humanized you to me." And I thought, I didn't realize that kids didn't think I was a human. Am I a robot? Is something I had never thought about. And it brought tears to my eyes. I thought, well, this is way more important than teaching you the subject, building these relationships and knowing that, or the students knowing that we care and we want to serve them to the best possible degree. It's changed me as a teacher. I know it changes my classroom community and culture, my relationships with the kids, but it really has changed me as a teacher. It's made me better.
Absolutely. And you talked about doing data chats, and I've done them too, and they do take time, and that's something that we've talked about in the cadre a lot, about the time that it takes to administer these surveys, which isn't a lot, but in our classrooms where we constantly feel like we never have enough time to get through everything, it's one of those like, oh, do we have time to give up to do it? But I think what I've discovered, what Tiffany's discovered, I think Michelle would say the same thing if we brought her in here, is that it's almost to the point for us that you can't not spend the time to do it.
Yeah, and speaking of time, they shortened the survey this year, and one of the learning conditions that they took out was teacher caring, because they were worried that the survey was taking up too much time in the class. And they said, if you'd like this added back into your survey, let us know and we can add it back. And I said, yes, I want teacher caring added back into my survey. That is a huge component of this. I need to know how these students feel when it comes to my caring, So I was like, I emailed Kelly and I said, please add that back into my survey. I want that. I don't care if it takes an extra 5 minutes. I need that feedback.
Yeah. So, this is a journey we've been on. So we've been working with Impact. Impact nominated you. So what organization ultimately were you working with at NCTM?
Everbank Education as part of the Diverse Math Educators for Equity cohort, which was amazing. Like I said, there are about half of us from New York and half of us from Florida. So some people I did know from participating in Impact from other districts, and then I met people I've never met before from New York. It was really, really neat. They had a wonderful thing set up for us so we could talk to each other, collaborate with each other, share. It was great.
That's great. I think more of that is important, because people have solutions. We just have to find those people and find the solutions that work for each teacher, each subject.
And it's a continuum. There's no end. It keeps going. You can keep growing always. Keep growing. Never give up. Is that me?
That is you.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Keep growing. Never give up. Growth is not something that is going to end, especially as teachers, like I said. And it's such a collaborative effort. I couldn't do what I do without my team. I'm forever grateful. And I thank God every day for my coworkers and the ability to grow and learn with them.
Oh, well, we are happy to have you here, and I'm happy to have you as a friend and on this amazing math team as we continue to do great things for our students. So you got nominated, you got selected, you went to NCTM, you learned a bunch of things. So what do you see as next on your growth journey?
I don't know.
So is there more with the cohort that?
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet.
I do know there are a few trips, one to Nashville, one to Chicago, and one to Seattle. I don't know if the cohort will travel to those places. We haven't had much more feedback since we've returned. I do know that the cohort, we're going to have a Zoom soon and discuss different things. But I would love to have another opportunity to go learn and grow and share with them, but I don't know yet. I do know that I was happy to be home. I missed my students, and I feel like they missed me. They expressed that, and so I'm just gonna focus on them and getting through this semester.
Awesome. I look forward to you having opportunities to go and bring back more knowledge, and for all of us to be able to share our successes so that other teachers maybe can find that success too.
I'm really looking forward to some of the Impact Florida meetups again this time. And one of the biggest bummers about my trip is that I didn't get to take my team with me. We're only as good as we are because we do this together. And it felt I needed them. So these Impact Florida trips, we get to do that together. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to get started. Got some new stuff to try out.
Yeah.
So
I'm interested to get this survey data back and get grinding.
So before we sign off, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners about your experience, or anything else you want to share with the audience?
If you go to DC, bring comfy shoes. It's a lot of walking. No, I'm just grateful and honored to represent the QI math team, represent the Putnam County School District, and I just feel so blessed to have had this opportunity.
Wonderful. So do you have any media recommendations for our listeners before I let you go? Books, podcasts, TV shows, anything?
I'm always reading a book. I'm actually reading Brené Brown's Daring Greatly right now, and it's incredible. So
good book.
I'm not finished with it, but I'll go ahead and recommend it. It's just I'm one of the victims of vulnerability. So I always and the trip, I go traveling alone. It was
lean into the rumble.
Yeah. So believe in yourself, be confident, and take risks. It's worth it.
Wonderful. Can highly recommend all the listeners anything by Brené Brown.
Yes, absolutely. Amazing. I just needed a little pep in my step, so it's a good read.
Alrighty, that wraps up another episode of The Bo's Nose. Thank you, Tiffany, for taking the time to sit down with me. Listeners, if you like the podcast, subscribe on your favorite podcast player of choice so you don't miss out on future episodes, and please share with your friends. Until next time, excellence in all endeavors.